I want to put it here to ask our people. Unfortunately, I don't know who you are. You said a Zoom user. You said yes.
Look this way, and what do I speak into? Yeah. Look, but what do I speak? It's a
Then
microphone.
you said the buyer can speak the deal.
Yeah.
Then another person called Marco, Material Act.
Can I have a preview just to see? Yeah.
Peter.
Yeah, it's already online. Oh, okay, I'm on one. Oh, hi, good afternoon.
Welcome to Landmark.
Oh, okay, thank you.
How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. How are you?
Good, good. So, because you are late, so I started the meeting, and then I asked the question, and then maybe you can answer me later in the meeting. I say, one of the agents in our office bought a property 4 years ago, end of 2016, because the property value dropped in the middle of 2017, and the buyer found out that the lot is 30 feet less than the contract. The contract says like the lot is 45 multiplied by 150 feet deep. But then the final they find the survey and also the land registry, whatever the reason he used, he said the lot is only 120 feet in depth. So my question to our agent today is, can the buyer walk away from the transaction closing because the lot is 30 feet less?
And the entire lot size is
150.
I'm sorry?
150.
Yeah, I believe they could walk away. That's a sizable discrepancy. That's a big difference.
Okay.
They can either walk away or they can ask for what's called an abatement in the purchase price. That means they can ask for a reduction in the purchase price, because that's a pretty significant shortfall. Like that's a big difference. Yeah.
But the case we are dealing here now is the seller resold the property and claiming damage from the purchaser. They are in court from 2018 until now. The court is not finished yet. It looks like the buyer will lose this court battle.
You mean a buyer's not going to get anything for the 30 feet difference? That's kind
of... because the buyer didn't close, that's why I don't know.
Well, the other thing too is the lawyer that acted for the buyer, did the buyer have a lawyer at the time?
The buyer have a lawyer. It was just like 1 month before closing date.
The buyer's lawyer should have actually retrieved the plan of subdivision, and then was it on the plan of subdivision? Do you know?
Do not know the details, but I know that the house is old house. It's not a brand new. It's not like
Because if it's on a plan of subdivision, you're able to go into the land registry records and able to get a plan of subdivision, which will indicate the size of the lot.
Yes.
So that's something that the buyer's lawyer should have looked into and then establish what's the lot size. So I don't want to be critical of the buyer's lawyer because I don't know the entire case, but that's something that's usually looked into by the buyer's lawyer. So
right.
So I think the buyer's lawyer may have a little bit of responsibility there as well.
That's right. Yeah. So let us discuss that case in next meeting. So hello everyone. I know that someone posted the request say, can you talk in Chinese today? Can we do the training in Chinese today? Our manager Sammy already mentioned in the training schedule, today's training will be conducted in English, will not in Chinese. So if you have any question or if you have any part you are not clear, 你可以用中文来问问题 ，OK？ 我们几个 manager 都在 online， 他们会帮着你回答，帮着你去问 Peter。所以呢，就是 if you have any question, you can always ask in Chinese, speak up and ask your question in Mandarin, and our manager will help you to give you answer in Mandarin back.
You mind if I talk without a mask? I can't talk with a mask. No, don't. It's okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I apologize. My Chinese is not that good. So that's why I prefer to do the seminar in English. because if I was just talking Chinese, it would take a very long time. I would have to really think hard, and I apologize. So I hope that most of you can understand this presentation in English. However, Sammy's right beside me. So if you have any questions in Chinese, you can ask him, and then he will just translate the question to me. Okay? So let's move ahead. I apologize a little bit late. I just got tied up with things. Anyway, I'm available now. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me anytime or.
Yeah, you can put in the chat or just unmute yourself.
Sure. So you can, yeah, so you can actually put it into the chat, or you can just unmute and ask the question. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and talk about surveys and condominium plans and real estate transactions. This is a very important topic, although most of the people think that with title insurance, you don't really need a survey, you don't really need condominium plans and real estate transactions, but you still do. Okay, let's proceed then. So how do we get the next?
Click here.
How do I click?
Move the mouse.
Oh, okay.
Over to here.
Okay, just trying to get caught up a little bit with the technology
Yeah,
here.
okay.
Okay, so okay, this is my contact information in case any of you have any questions. This is my contact information. I'm just on the second floor of your building. So this is my phone number, my fax number, and my email address. I've been practicing law now for more than 25 years. My practice is mostly in real estate. I also do some wills, and I also do some family law and some business matters as well. But my primary focus is on real estate. And I must have handled a few thousand transactions by now. So I've done quite a few deals over my 25 years. And I'll try to give you some information about surveys and condominium plans today. Okay, so that's my contact. So in this seminar, we're going to talk about what is a survey. And at the same time, we're going to look at what are called condominium plans. Now, believe it or not, the condominium units are actually registered as a plan as well. So you're able to go into the registry office records and you're able to retrieve information about the condominium unit that you're buying, the dwelling unit, the parking, and the locker unit. We'll see later. I'll show you an example of a condominium plan so you can see for yourself about these plans. Okay, so I just want to start out by saying that surveys and condominium plans are the second most important legal documents after the deed, the transfer. So the deed transfer registers the buyer as the new owner of the property. That's registered in the registry office. But after the deed, you need to consider surveys and condominium plans because they reveal a lot of information about the property that your client is buying. So I like to think of it this way. A title search reveals the quality of the title that your client is buying. It tells you about what mortgages are registered on title. It tells you like what easements are registered, what liens are registered. So it basically tells you what is your client's title, the quality of it. But the survey condominium plan tells you what is the quantity of title that your client is buying. Okay, it tells you the quantity of the title of the property. Now you can think of it like this way: if you're buying a TV,
Unmute.
So if you think of it like this, if you're buying a TV right now, the survey would tell you the size of your TV, whereas the title search would tell you the features of your TV, such as the screen resolution, whether it has picture-in-picture, all the other features of the TV. So the survey would tell you the size of your TV, and then the title search would tell you about the features that you have on your TV. So you can see that the survey is very important. Okay, it tells you a lot of information about the property that your client is buying. Now, like I said here on my slide, the survey reveals the dimensions of your lot, the location of any fences, the location of any buildings and secondary structures such as sheds. It tells you if your property complies with the zoning and setback requirements of the municipality. It also tells you about easements across your property. and in favor of your property. So it tells you if your property has easements over the neighbor's property, okay? And also gives you information about access to the property and the location of any adjoining buildings and encroachment. So the location of buildings that are on your neighbor's land, okay? It tells you whether those buildings are actually encroaching onto your property. Now, do most of you understand what I mean when I say encroachment?
侵占
Okay, maybe you can say it.
对 ，encroachment 也是侵占，侵占就是不小心可能你的 fence 超越到你的位置了。
So that's basically saying that the building it's sitting on some part of your lot, on some part of your property. That's what I mean by encroachment. Okay, it should actually be on its own lot, but encroachment means that it's actually part of it's actually sitting on your lot. Okay, so now I noticed that some agents are getting plans of subdivision and saying that this is a plan of survey. I'm going to go through what is a plan of subdivision later on. I'm going to give you an example of a subdivision plan, but just note that a plan of survey is not the same thing as a subdivision plan. So if you are acting for the buyer and you're receiving a plan of subdivision or a subdivision plan, that is not the same thing as a survey. The plan of subdivision is basically a plan that reveals the lot size of all the lots in the neighborhood, like all the lots within the subdivision. It will tell you what is the lot size of your lot and also the lot size of all the other lots in the subdivision plan. But that's all it will do. It won't tell you where the location of your fences. It won't tell you the location of your buildings. It won't tell you anything about easements. Okay, so it's not the same thing as a plan of survey. So if you're getting a plan of subdivision from the seller, just go back to them and say, this is not a plan of survey. You're not getting what you bargained for. Okay, but like I said in my slide here, a subdivision plan will reveal the lot dimensions of the lots within a subdivision, but it will usually not provide other information. Now, there is a way to tell whether you're getting a plan of survey or a plan of subdivision. I'll go through that later on, because if you're getting a subdivision plan, it will actually say plan of subdivision. Okay, this is not the same thing as a plan of survey. If you're getting a plan of survey, you actually say on the document, plan of survey. Okay, so I'm going to go through some samples of different types of surveys that you may encounter as a real estate agent. I'm going to go through that later on. I'm going to give you some sample surveys that we can, and also condominium plans that we can look at later on. So far, so good. Do we have any questions at all, or anything that you guys are not sure about?
No.
No. Okay, so everybody is following. Okay, good. Now, most of the surveys that you're going to be receiving from the seller are what's called foundation surveys. They are surveys that were prepared at the time when the foundation of the building was laid. Now, these foundation surveys are basic and do not provide much information. They basically tell you where the foundation is. I mean, it's still useful to know where the foundation is laid because you know the location of the buildings, but it doesn't really reveal anything else. It doesn't tell you about the location of the fences. It doesn't tell you whether there's any easements on the property. It doesn't tell you where your driveway is. It doesn't tell you where your shed is. It doesn't tell you anything about your deck. So basically the foundation surveys are very basic, okay, but it's better than nothing. But the best thing to get is best thing to obtain is an up-to-date survey which will show the current property conditions, such as fence location and driveway. So that is the very best type of survey you can get. The foundation survey is very basic, and it will tell you a little bit about the location of the building, but nothing else, okay? So if you are acting for the buyer, you should always try to get an up-to-date survey, a current survey of the property. Now, I know that's very difficult because then you have to bargain with the sellers to decide who's going to pay for this, right? Because people don't want to be paying for these surveys. Now, the surveys itself can range anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000. So it's a very expensive document. And most of the time I find that in my real estate transactions, the buyers are satisfied with just an existing foundation survey. But like I said, it is best to get an up-to-date survey that will reveal the current property conditions. Okay, next slide. Okay, so the cost of the survey, okay, we just talked about. Like I said, it's anywhere from, my experience has been that the survey costs anywhere between $2,000 to $5,000, depending on the type of property and what's located on the property. Like if it's a very complicated property with a lot of different structures, it could be a very expensive. Whereas it was a very simple property, you know, with no sheds, no decks, no fences, it could be cheaper, because it's basically based on the amount of time that the surveyor has to spend to prepare the survey. Now, surveys are all available for all freehold properties, such as townhouses, semi-detached, detached, commercial and industrial and recreational properties. What I mean by recreational properties are cottages. So you're able to obtain a survey for all freehold properties, okay? Now I want to talk a little bit about the condominium plans. I don't know if most of you are aware, but you can actually get a condominium plan from the land registry office. Okay, you can get it through the records. In fact, all condominiums have these condominium plans registered in the registry office, so you're able to obtain them. You don't need to hire a surveyor to get the condominium plans. They can be found in the registry office, okay, or through the TurvView software for a small fee. Now, the registry offices are now closed to the public, so you would need to hire a lawyer in order to access the TurvView software to retrieve these condominium plans. Now, I'm going to show you a sample condominium plan later on, so you can see for yourself. But these condominium plans, they reveal the location and size of the dwelling unit, parking, and locker units. Now, they only reveal the four walls of the dwelling units, like the four walls that surround the dwelling unit, but they don't tell you like the location of the bathroom. They don't tell you the location of the kitchen. They don't tell you the location of any drywall you have. So basically, it only tells you the four walls that, like the front, back, and the sides. The walls that surround the dwelling unit. So it's similar to a plan of subdivision. The plan of subdivision tells you the dimensions of your lot, but it doesn't tell you what, like the buildings that are on that lot itself. The same thing with the condominium plan. The condominium plan only tells you the four walls of your unit, but it doesn't tell you what's inside that unit. Okay, the bathroom, the kitchen, it doesn't reveal that type of information. Now, the reason I always obtain these condominium plans whenever I'm acting for a client who's buying a condominium, the reason why is I want to confirm that the parking and the locker units are the exact ones that the purchaser is purchasing. Now, I want to do that because sometimes there could be a little bit of a mix-up in the naming of the parking and locker units, because the parking and locker units are legally described, and they're also described by the condominium units itself. So the condominium unit, the condominium corporation may give its own designation for the parking and locker units, and those don't match with the actual legal description. So for example, the parking unit may be legally described as Unit 8, Level 5, whereas the condominium corporation, the management office, may label the parking unit 8-7, for example. Okay, the two don't match. So throughout the years that I've been practicing, I find that it's very rare, but sometimes you do get the parking unit, like and the legal description and the description that's given to it by the management office. Like sometimes there's a bit of a screw up. So you're actually buying you're actually, legally speaking, you're actually receiving a parking or lock unit that's different than what you think you're getting. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is why it's very important we actually get the parking and locker units. We actually get the condominium plans to confirm the location of these parking and locker units, to confirm that these are the ones that your clients are buying, okay, according to the legal description. Remember, it's only what your client is buying legally and what's registered in the registry office that is what exactly your client is getting. Okay, they're not getting title to anything else other than the units that are actually registered in the land registry system. Okay, under the condominium plan. So we'll go through that in a little bit. Okay, I'll just go through. I think right now it's hard to explain this to you without actually showing you the condominium plan. So once we see the condominium plan, I can tell you, you can see for yourself what I'm talking about.
Yeah, for the some exclusive parking on offer, we want to show the surveyor.
I'm sorry?
Exclusive use, it's not the ownership for parking and allowance.
Oh yeah, no, even if it's exclusive use, Sammy just brought up a good point. Even if the parking and locker units are exclusive use, there'll still be a condominium plan to tell you where that parking and locker unit is located. Okay, so you can still check, even if it's an exclusive use ownership and not an actual title ownership. So like I said down here in this bullet, the buyer's lawyer should be retrieving the condominium plans to confirm the location and size of the dwelling, parking and locker units as part of the title search. Okay. Now, unfortunately, some lawyers don't do this, and there's been a bit of a screw up. Sometimes they will think that the parking and locker units are exclusive use, and then they won't actually include those two units in the transfer. So then the transfer will only transfer the main unit, the dwelling unit, to the buyer, but then the parking and locker units still remain in the seller's name, the ownership. So that has caused a lot of problems in the past for me, and it's a little bit of a it's basically the lawyer did not do the job properly. So just be aware that this situation can arise from time to time, and it causes stress for everybody because we got to chase after the seller, which can be many years from now. Okay, and we have to chase after him in order for him to sign the deed to transfer the ownership over to the current owner. Okay. Okay, I think we'll pause here a little bit. I'm going to go through the different surveys that you can encounter as an agent, but I think we'll just pause here a little bit, just maybe look at some questions and see, because I want to make sure everybody's is following. So let's see what.
Let me mute the person. Okay, there's a question is, the buyer order a new survey. Who has the right to obtain the survey?
Anybody can go to an Ontario land surveyor and ask them to prepare a survey. Okay, so the seller, the buyer, the bank, the mortgage company, anybody can go to a surveyor's office and just say, can you prepare a survey of this property for me? But then it's the person that's ordering the survey that has to end up paying for it. So.
Yeah. Okay, is the survey is mandatory? Because this is my question when the transaction. You can repeat the question. We can understand it clear.
Okay. Some people have asked me, is a survey mandatory? I suppose it's a little bit of a difficult question to answer because, like, people now relying on title insurance to say, oh, no, I don't need a survey now because I got title insurance. Okay, and if there's any problems that come up later on, I'll just make a claim with the title insurance company. But that in of itself is it's a very long and difficult process, and you have to kind of fit into the right circumstances in order for the title insurance company to come back and compensate you in case there's any issues that arose from a survey. Okay, but my personal preference would be is to obtain the survey now to find out what the problems are, than to wait to make an inquiry and make a claim with title insurance company to get the to solve the problem afterwards. So a lot of the banks will take title insurance instead of a survey, and a lot of the clients don't want to pay for a survey. But for me, it's really, really important. Like for me, for me personally, I would, if I was going to buy a house, I would get a survey for the property. Okay.
Yeah, maybe we can go ahead. Yeah, no more questions.
Okay, so we'll just keep on going, and then at the end, if you guys have any questions, we can wrap up. But for now, we'll just go through the different surveys that that you may encounter. Now, the first one I have here, this is a plan of subdivision, and if I point this out here, would you be able to see like on this screen? Like
Yeah,
this?
you can use it here. Click it here. Yeah, click and use the laser point.
Okay, so like I said, this is a plan of subdivision. It is not a plan of survey that you're looking for, because this is part of the plan of survey. Oh, sorry, part of the plan of subdivision. Okay, like there's also a bottom part, but then we didn't have enough space to include the whole survey, so we just kind of chopped it off and gave you the top half. Okay, you can see right here it says plan of subdivision, and you can see it shows all the lots in this particular plan of subdivision. There's lot 1, lot 2, lot 3, lot 4, lot 6, or sorry, 5, 6, and then there's 27, 26, 25, 24. So you can see here for yourself that this is a plan of subdivision. You can see, can we increase the magnification? Go up, because I want to show them to you this and this. Like I want to
We'll check it here, see if we can. Yeah.
Can I increase?
Yeah.
Okay, and this was what shows up on the screen?
Yeah.
As you can see here, okay, I think this is the largest magnification I can do, but you can see here for lot 1, it tells you the lot size. So from the frontage here is 17.8 meters, and the side frontage is 35.575. So it tells you the size of your lot that you're buying, and also tells you the location. It tells you that lot 1 is at the corner of Baycrest and Warbeck Street. So you see right here, it tells you the location and the size of your lot, but that's all it does. It doesn't tell you any information about any buildings on the lot. Okay, it doesn't tell you the location of the driveway if there's any. It doesn't tell you the location of the fences. It doesn't tell you the location of any easements. Okay, so if you are an agent and you actually negotiated to get a plan of survey, don't take this as in satisfaction of that requirement. Okay, go back to the seller and insist that they give you the survey. Okay, so this is a plan of subdivision, and then we'll
Some question. Can you read? The DC ask, is this map the same as the normal see on the property line or jewel warehouse?
You mean this plan of subdivision?
Yeah, this is a
I don't know about what you see in the geo warehouse. Like
jewel warehouse. They have some unit is available for a subdivision plan. Yeah, maybe I think it's the same.
I know in geo warehouse you can actually get the survey as well, right?
See if they're available.
Yeah,
most is not available.
Okay, yeah, on the geo warehouse you can actually, I think you can actually get the actual survey, or the foundation survey at least, the latest survey that they have, which will likely be a foundation survey, because like I said, most properties will just have the foundation survey. They won't actually have a more detailed survey than a foundation survey. But for now, I just want to show you the plan of subdivision so you know what it is. Okay, and let's just come up into the
Yeah, click. And there's another question Jessica asked. Some house do not have a survey. Is that okay to buy the house, have no survey?
Well, like I said, the survey tells you the quantity of title, and it basically it seems like buying a TV. Like if you're buying a TV, you can know all the features about the TV, but you don't know the size of the TV. So the survey, tells you the size of the TV, which is a very important part of your purchase decision, right? So you could probably get by with using title insurance, but my preference would be to actually get the survey myself. But like I said, most people do not want to pay for the cost of the survey. But I guess I suppose in an urban residential area, like such as in Markham, it may not be that important to get the survey because it's pretty well, like the houses are pretty well constructed, and there's really not a lot to deal with. But for a recreational or cottage property, I would definitely buy a survey because in a cottage or recreational property situation, there's a lot more that can go wrong with the construction. Like sometimes they may construct a cottage on like part of it is encroaching onto an adjoining lot. Part of it may be sitting on the roads, like the shore road allowance, okay? Which is the government land, okay? So in a cottage situation, I would probably buy a survey for sure. Whereas I guess if you're buying a house in Markham, it may not be that necessary. It also depends on the age of the house as well. If the house is very old, then you probably would need a survey. Whereas the house was constructed within the last 30 years. And you take a look at the house and it doesn't seem to have anything unique sticking out. Like basically the house is still, you don't see any sheds, you see a small deck. You may be able to get by without a survey.
Yeah, out of the downtown, there's over 100 years old.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea to get a survey. Okay, so I guess use your judgment. If the property is relatively new, and then also on top of it, if you have the foundation survey, and you take a look at the foundation survey, and the foundation survey is pretty well, it's pretty accurate. So you know where like the building is, and you know the setbacks. Do they all know what setbacks are?
Yeah, I think so.
Setbacks. Okay, and you can see the setbacks, and you see that the foundation survey is pretty accurate, and there's really no shed, there's really no deck. Then you could probably just rely on the foundation survey then. Okay.
Good. If the seller does not have the
I think we
survey,
answered this already.
yeah, buyer have to. Yeah, okay, maybe go the next. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
go.
let's keep going. Okay,
Let's
good.
have
We
a
still have a lot. We still have about another 30 minutes. So, okay, so this is the plan of survey. Oh, sorry, plan of subdivision. I'm going to go on next to. This is the townhouse survey. Okay.
Yeah, we can use search if you want.
Oh, okay. Now, right here, you see, like I said, this actually says plan of survey. Okay, plan of survey of block so and so. So this is an actual townhouse survey. Now we weren't able to fit the whole survey because it was really big onto a single slide. So we kind of have to break it down a little bit. But I just want to show you. It says your plan of survey. Okay, and then I'll just go through it. Okay, and here you can see that a surveyor did this. Okay, this is the surveyor's information right here. Okay, so basically, this is a block of townhouses here. Excuse me. Oh, do we have any water, by the way?
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Now you can see this is a whole row of townhouses right here. And this in of itself right here, that is the lot dimensions of the townhouse. This is a corner townhouse. The page says that it's a porch. And this says dwelling under construction. So this is a foundation survey for the townhouse. And you can see right here, this is the actual outline of the foundation where the building is going to be located. Now, in some of the townhouses that are kind of like close to each other, you may find what's called, or you may find these pods that are situated with the townhouse. These are designed, for example, this pod 29. This pod 29 is designed to allow the neighbor to go onto this owner's property, this pod 29, in order to do some maintenance work. They're called maintenance easements. And it's very common for townhouses that are very tight that they have a space on the property that allows the neighbors to come in and to be able to have legal access to this pod in order to do maintenance work on their property. So once again, you can see this is a townhouse survey. Okay, this is the lot size, and then this is the neighbors. Okay, this is the neighbors. Oh, thanks. This is the neighbors townhouse. This is your townhouse. You're buying pod 30, and pod 29 is also part of your property as well. But like I said, it is set out to design to allow the owner of this townhouse to be able to come in and have access to do maintenance work on their townhouse. Okay, that's a function of pod 29. So a lot of times you may see on your legal description, pod block, what is this block? Pod block so-and-so being pods 29 and 30. Now you know why, because this pod 29 is it's actually specifically cut out and designed so that the neighbor can come in and do access for queue. Okay, so I get so. Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is the townhouse survey. Okay, and then we'll go on next. Okay, and I just had this slide here to show you that. Oh, excuse me a second. I just have the slide here to show you that this is the dimensions of part 29. You know the part we were talking about? This is your property, but it's a part that's been laid out in order to allow this owner to be able to come in and actually have legal access to be able to access this property and to be able to do like whatever work he needs to be done on this part of his property right here. Okay, so that's why a lot of the times you see the townhouses, they'll be broken down into parts. For example, this owner is this property is parts 29 and 30. Okay, so that's the townhouse survey. Now we're going to talk about condominium plans. Okay, how do we merge this here?
Yeah.
Now you can see this is actually a townhouse condominium plan. Okay, this is there's actually one for apartments as well. Okay, but I guess I picked one that's this is a condo townhouse. Okay, you can see this is the location of the this is unit 44, unit 45, unit 46. So this is the actual condominium townhouse right here, and then this one would be here as well. And you can see that this is the dimensions of the condominium townhouse. Okay, and this is the actual townhouse itself right here, unit 50. All right. I meant to actually get one that was showing an apartment, but let's hope I can pick up the next one. Okay, so this is a condominium townhouse. Okay, as you can see, this is for a condominium plan, a condominium townhouse. And then the next we'll go through is, oh, okay, so this is for an apartment. This is a Toronto Standard Condominium Plan number 2338. Okay, now once again, I have to enlarge it a little bit.
Yeah.
Oops. You can see right here, okay? You can see right here, this is level 2, so I guess it's probably the second floor. Okay, second floor, and then units 1 to 20. Okay, so this is the elevators here, and then this is the all the size of the units, okay, and the location of the units. So this is unit 2, unit 1, okay, unit 3. Like I said before, it doesn't show you the drywall, it doesn't show you where the bathroom is, doesn't show where the kitchen is, it doesn't show any partitioning walls. It just basically shows you the 4 walls from here. Okay, so this is it, and this is a balcony right here. All right, so you can see that's. Oops, I should point it in. Oops.
The first one. Search.
Oops, sorry. Having a little bit of.
You cannot have a 2 functions, one at a time.
Okay, in that case, I'll just make it like this. So this is unit 3 right here. Okay, unit 3 of level 2. So this is probably suite 203. You can see right here, this is the 4 walls, okay, that surround the unit. This is the balcony here. But like I said, okay, now I can just like I said, you can see for right now, there is no information about what's inside unit 3. Okay, it doesn't show you where the kitchen is, where the bathroom is. It doesn't show you where the partitioning walls are. So it doesn't show you where the bedrooms are. Like it doesn't show you. It just shows you the 4 walls. Okay, so this is a good way for your client to check to verify that in fact they're buying what the unit that they're actually buying, because you know the location of the unit. So if let's say for example your client is buying unit 4, but then he or she thought they were buying this unit, okay, they were actually buying this here, then we have a bit of a problem, because I mean, no, they're buying this unit, or they thought they were buying this unit, but legally speaking, they're buying unit 4, which is this unit. So this is a good way to confirm what unit your client is buying. All right, so I always do this check. I always get the condominium plans, and I always go through and tell the client, or check with the client. I show them the plan, and I ask them, is this the unit that your client is buying? And then believe it or not, a lot of times they actually don't know.
Yeah.
They actually don't have any idea, the physical location of the unit. So, but I try my best to see, like to confirm that this is the unit they're buying. Okay. So this is for the dwelling unit of an apartment, of a condominium apartment. And now we're going to go through, and this would show you the parking and locker units. Okay, so I need to just magnify this a bit. Okay, so this is parking unit of unit level C. So this is probably P3. Okay, and this shows you the park units for units 1 to 195. So you can see yourself, if your client is like on an agreement put in sale, it's let's say, for example, your client is buying unit 99. Okay, then I will come here and I'll check. Okay, this is unit 99, so this is the parking space. And now I'll just ask the client, okay, like once again, confirm with them, like, okay, this is the parking space you're buying. Just confirm with them that this is in fact what they think they're buying. Because sometimes they might think they're buying something that's closer to the elevator. This is the elevators right here. You might say, oh, I thought I was buying this unit. But legally speaking, you're getting this unit. So once again, there's a problem. We will have to get that problem solved before closing. Okay, and then that is the parking unit, and then this is the actual storage or the locker units right here. They actually show you the location. Oops, I can't do both.
They can both, yeah.
Okay, so this is it's a little bit hard to see, but I'll just point it out to you here, and then I'll magnify it later on. Okay, so you guys can see. So once again, these are the locker or the storage units. Now, a lot of times the client actually don't bother to go down and see exactly the location of the parking space in the locker. They're just happy with the main unit. But you as agents should always verify before you sign the offer, or before you make the offer. You should always satisfy yourself that where's the location of the parking and the locker units. This way, like we don't have any problems. Like we don't have any problems if the client comes back and says, oh no, thought I was getting this unit, but legally I'm only getting this unit. We can get those problems solved before the closing date. Okay, and hopefully even before you make the offer, you can resolve the problem. Okay. Okay, so let's move on. This is an actual detached house survey. So once again, it says surveyor's real property report, which is the same thing as a plan of survey. Okay, so this is an actual survey for a house, and right here you can see that the surveyor signed it. Okay, and it's got the surveyor's seal and the surveyor's mark. Okay, the surveyor's mark right here, and then okay. So now sometimes the survey would come with what's called part 2, and the part 2 would actually just give some information about the property itself. For example, this is part 2. Okay, there's a surveyor's report. Okay, actually, let me just enlarge this. You see part 2, it says this plan must be read with surveyor's real property report dated to July 13, 2016. So there is some information that the surveyor is trying to tell you with this report. Okay, part 2. A lot of times it's not part of the survey. It's just like a separate page. And a lot of times when I get the survey, I don't get this part 2 because it's been detached from the survey, and maybe it's just been lost. But just be aware that a lot of times the surveyor will actually have a part 2, and this is where he provides information about the survey itself, where he provides written information. Okay, I think I might actually have part 2 in this sample here. Okay, so you can see right here. Once again, this is just a foundation survey. Okay, so this is the actual lot itself.
They cannot see the mouse
Oh, sorry.
unless you use a pointer.
Okay, I can't use a pointer. So
Yeah, cannot use at the same time.
oh, okay. Let me just maybe I'll Just go
Yeah.
back down.
Click upon.
No, because I really want to point
Yeah,
this. Okay.
yeah, now it's okay.
Okay, I apologize. This may be a little bit hard to see, but this is the actual lot. Okay, the actual lot. Oh. On a survey, the actual lot itself is usually highlighted by dark black lines. So I know by looking at the survey that this is the lot dimension. Right here. Right here. Okay. So that's it. That's the lot size for this lot 140. And I can tell it's at the corner of Winton and Marbles Lane. Okay, so this is the streets. Now I can also tell that this is a linked house because you can see right here that the walls are attached. So it's joining at some point. So this is a linked home. So that's something that's kind of useful because you can tell your client like that your property is not fully detached, that there's a linkage. I guess probably at the garage. So this will be the garage here. And the house itself is linked at the garage. Now above ground, it may actually not be linked, but below ground on the foundation, they are linked. Okay, to this garage and this garage right here by this wall. Okay, so once again, the survey does reveal some information because I know a lot of clients do not like a linked house. They look above ground and you see that the whole house is detached from its neighbor. But the survey now tells you that the garage is linked underground. Okay, so that's the actual lot right here. And that tells you the porch. Okay, this tells you this is the porch right here. And DUC means dwelling under construction. So it means it's the foundation. Okay. And it also tells you the lot size as well. This here is 9 meters by 32 meters. And also note that this lot right here, it's not a regular lot. Okay, it goes down here. And then, but the lot then goes here, here, here. So it's not a fully rectangular lot. There's a part of it that's cut out. I guess this is probably maybe a transformer or something that needs to be here. Like some city works has to be on this part of on this land here. So that's the reason why it's the lot itself is kind of like it's not fully rectangular. It's cut out here. Okay. Okay, so I think we have about another 6 more slides to go, but then now you have seen a condo plan, you've seen a survey for a townhouse, and you've also seen a survey for detached house. Oh, right here. Okay, I did include this. This is part 2 of the survey report. This is just as important as the survey itself. Okay, this is just as important as the survey itself, even though it's in words. Okay, it tells you information right here. As shown on part 1, being a plan dated so-and-so, okay, that's a survey. Please note that all setbacks to the lot lines meet or exceed the required zoning minimums. So you know that the zoning setbacks are okay for this property. So see this report right here tells you this. But unfortunately, like I told you before, many times I find these part 2s are not attached to the original survey. I would get the original survey, but I won't find this part 2, and it's really aggravating because I know that the part 2 has a lot of really useful information, but for some reason it's just been lost and the seller doesn't have it anymore. Okay, you understand? Yeah. Okay, so let's go on. Now this cottage, this is a survey of a cottage. Unfortunately, I don't think it came out very well in the as a slide. I think a lot of it's not legible, but you can see here. Okay, this is a plan of survey. Okay, once again, plan of survey, so you know that it's a survey. Okay, and this is prepared. This is actually a fictional survey. It's not a real survey, but I just included this survey just to give some idea as to what you can expect to get from a cottage survey. So once again, okay, this is the cottage survey. Okay. Now, I don't know if you can see this very well, but like I said before, if I enlarge, you'll see it.
Yeah. You cannot see the pointer.
Okay, maybe I'll use the pointer instead. Then, 'cause I like to highlight.
Click one more time.
Okay.
Yeah, you can also use a pen if you want. Pen means you can write down something.
Okay, it's okay. It's fine. Okay, so this is a cottage survey, and the reason why I included this is because this is very, very typical of a cottage, and the reason why you should get the survey, because like I said before, for a urban, relatively new property, that's like, for example, a property in Markham that's less than 30 years old, you're probably not going to encounter too many problems, or the survey itself, like an up-to-date survey, won't tell you too many problems about the property. But in a cottage situation, it's a little bit different. A lot of the cottages you see here, they'll have a lot of issues. And in this one, this is a fictional survey, but I can just point out to you some of the things that you can see on the survey that you're going to have issues with, like as a buyer. For example, this is a road, and you can see this is your lot right here. That's your lot right here. Okay, this is the lot that you're buying. And you can see here, there's a lot of problems with this property. Okay, for example, one, there's an access road, and that access road, this is it right here, that's running through your property. So this access road that allows other people to go to their property and vice versa. This is actually situated on your property, so you can have your neighbors coming in and across, using their vehicles. And obviously, you don't want that, and you don't want there to be a road on the middle of your property, right? So that's one thing that this survey is telling me. Okay, there's a road, and that's already a problem itself. And then second thing is telling me is that this is a septic tile for the septic tank. I didn't know what a septic tank is. Okay, maybe you can say it.
Yeah, 化粪池就是那个排污的系统化粪池。
Okay, so this septic tile, it's used in conjunction with the septic tank. It's actually sitting on the road. Do you see this is a road right here? So it's sitting on a road, which is not really good because the city can come to you and say to you, remove it off our road, remove your septic tile off of the road, in which case your client would have to pay to relocate the septic tile. So that's another issue right here. And it's telling me that this is a shed, and this is the shed. It's telling me that the shed is encroaching onto the neighbor's property. This is the neighbor's property right here. Okay, and this is the neighbor's property. Okay, which is no good. Okay, because you obviously don't want any part of your buildings to be sitting on your neighbor's land. Okay, and then the main thing that really disturbs me is that this is the original shore road allowance. This belongs to the government. Okay, it's a little bit difficult and complicated to explain to you what is a shore road allowance, but basically all bodies of water have these shore road allowances that are 66 feet in length, and they are actually owned by the government, and they were originally set out to allow people to be able to travel through the shorelines of the property right here to here. Okay, so unless you make an application to go and buy the shore road allowance, you don't. It's likely to belong to the government, and you would have to go to the local municipality and make a application to buy this land right here. Okay, from the government, from the municipal government. Right, so this is not yours. This is not your property. This is most likely to belong to the government, like the local government. And the problem is your house, which is here, it's sitting on government land. So that's a no-no, because obviously you don't want you want your house to be on private property, your private property, right? Because this allows people to have access. Okay, people can have access to this road anytime. So you can end up having a lot of people come in and decide to have a party on this shore here. They come in onto your property and start partying, and presumably they can actually into your house as well, because your house is actually sitting on government land. So if they want to, they can actually come in and have access to your house without being considered to be a trespasser. So you you would then have to force the seller, if they don't own the shore road allowance, to go to the government and make an application to buy this land, so that this land becomes their land, and then they can then sell it to you. So in a cottage situation, and also, oh, by the way, there's an easement as well. Okay, there's also an easement here. Okay, I don't know what the easement is for, but it's telling you that there's a, oh, it's saying no registered easement. So there is no easement here, but there is a road that's running across the middle of your property right here. Your house is sitting on government land. A lot of the structures that you have, like these two sheds and the tile bed, is actually sitting on like either the road or the neighbor's property. And then also here, this is your, right here, this is your, that's where the boat, like like where you launch off the boats, yeah, the dock. This is the dock, and as you can see, your dock is actually sitting on the lake itself, which is kind of a trespass as well. So I only included this cottage survey as just for reference, okay? But you can see that the cottage survey is revealing a lot of information, negative information about the property that your client is buying. So this is why it's really important in a cottage situation that you tell your client to get an up-to-date survey, even before you make the offer, right? So that way you don't get involved in a messy offer process. You know, you don't sit there and give a deposit, and then later I'll find out you have problems with the property. You want your deposit back, right? Even before you make the offer, ask the seller, tell the seller, you know, like provide me with an up-to-date survey, or you know, tell your buyer client to spend the money to get a survey, to get an up-to-date survey on their own. Because like I said, most of the times the properties that are situated in an urban area and are relatively new probably won't have a lot of problems, but for cottage situations, it's kind of the reverse. I find that in my experience, a lot of the cottages have a lot of problems, and it's always wise to get a survey to find out about the problems and to find out whether you still want to go ahead and close. Now, if the client came to ask me, in this particular case, I would probably tell them don't bother closing because there's just too many problems. Like, you know, like I don't know, this road you may not be able to close off this road. You may not be able to buy this land from the government. All right, and then you're left with basically a property that has a lot of problems.
Hi, Peter. Can I ask one question? Since we are on this specific survey, a couple questions can I ask you?
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, because it's a very typical survey. It's not often we come across, right? So in this case, you mentioned about the easement for this survey, and also that the assets by other people are crossing the land. So
right here.
That's very typical. So this way, can we say this assets also considered as easement or not?
No, this would not be an easement. And well, we would have to see on title, okay, whether this is actually this road here, it is actually an easement. But no, I would consider this to be a problem. I don't think this would be an easement, because like usually an easement would be at the front or at the back of the property or at the side. This is running through the middle of the property. I don't think it was intended to be an easement. It's probably it's an access road that was laid out without getting a survey to consider. A lot of times, like I said, in cottage property, people are very informal about legal rights. Like they're not that strict about legal rights. So maybe they just decided we need access to all these properties, so we're just going to put a road here, and then nobody objected to it. So it's probably been here for a very long time.
So in this case, this one even worse than the easement then.
Yeah, even worse than easement. Yeah.
Okay. The second question that because there is encroachment here as well. So can you tell us the easement between the easement and encroachment? What's a major difference between these two? So which one is most, worse than the other one?
An easement is usually a right to allow somebody to use your property for a specific purpose. So you may have a hydro easement at the front of your property that allows hydro lines to be connected. Now that is still okay. Your title is not marketable, provided that the easement is not a big easement. Like If the
Mhm.
easement only covers the first 8 feet of the property, like for example,
Okay.
that's still okay, all right?
Mhm.
But an encroachment is something different. An encroachment is much more serious because you see right here, this is your shed right here, for example.
Yeah.
But you see that the shed itself is sitting on the neighbor's land. So
Yeah.
technically, the neighbor could come to you and say, remove the shed. Or the neighbor may deny you access to part of your shed because it's sitting on his land,
Yeah.
right? So an encroachment is always worse than an easement,
Okay.
okay?
So by this way, if, is it possible the neighbor can ask for the remedy to get remove the encroachment, something like this?
Yep, then this is the neighbor's land, okay? This is the neighbor. He can
Mhm.
come to this owner and say to this owner, you know, your structure is sitting here. Either remove it, or I'm going to deny you access to this part of the shed because it's sitting on his property, right?
Mhm.
You cannot have access to somebody else's property unless they allow it.
Okay.
So that's what an easement does. An easement allows somebody else to have access to your property for a purpose. That's okay. That's legal. But this one itself, right here, it's not an encroachment. Doesn't allow this person to have legal access because you're gonna go onto the neighbor's property in order to access this part of your shed. He
Okay.
can deny you the access.
Okay. Understood. Thank you, Peter.
Okay, any other questions at all? Or
Yeah, the major concern, because I was asked by our agent, from time to time, saying, you coachman, what you can do about it. So because as agent, we can hardly to answer this. So that's why we need you to, tell us what we can do to explain to our clients, right? So.
well, if you actually know of an encroachment, it's best that you contact your lawyer and ask your lawyer more information about it. Like I said, some encroachments are very minor. They may encroach onto the neighbor's land by 1 inch or 2 inch.
Mhm.
And it may be a very minor encroachment. Plus the building itself may have sat on the neighbor's land for a very long time, maybe 40, 50, 100 years. Like in that case, it's arguable that the neighbor cannot come and deny you access. Like the encroachment has to stay.
Yeah.
Okay, but like it depends on the circumstance.
Okay.
Like just not knowing the circumstance, when I see this, I'm thinking, oh, there's a problem right here because this part of the property is encroaching onto this neighbor's land. Yeah, that's my initial reaction.
Okay. Understood. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, Peter.
Yes.
This is Helen. I got a question. If there is an easement over the whole lot of the property, it's in the city, it's from the city. I believe it's in the city Jewish or also. So do you have any concern? It's over the whole lot.
That's very rare though. Usually the city will not do that. The city will actually register what's called a reference plan, and a registered plan will look like a survey, but it will show you exactly the location where the easement should be. And usually it doesn't cover the whole property. Usually it covers the front, the back, or the side.
It is unusual. It's an industrial building, and the easement, it is covered over the whole lot. So that's why I want to double confirm with you, because client walk away because of this reason, and I just want to ask your opinion. It is really unusual and the first time.
It is a little bit unusual. It's very unusual for residential. Sometimes in commercial, they do have
commercial, industrial, yeah.
Industrial, commercial. Sometimes like they do have easements over the whole property, but I would have to look at I would have to search the property and find the easement and find out what the easement is for. Like, and find out like whether it's a serious easement. Like it gives.
It's a sewer.
It's for sewer.
Yeah.
That's very strange though, because usually the city will because usually the city will limit the sewers to the side of the property. Because if they don't want to sit there and they don't want to, like, if they put it underneath the foundation of the building, then like it makes things very difficult because they would have to go in and dig underground to remove it, like to sewer it.
Yeah, that lot is quite close. The north east side is the wetland. Is it maybe because of that?
No, the sewers are,
No?
the sewers are to service the whole subdivision, like the whole area.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I would need to look at the, I would need to
Okay.
look at the details more to be able to give proper advice about it.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay.
Peter, can I ask a question? There's a townhome, built just only 5 years. When we purchased that townhome, is a middle unit townhome, and we ask if there's easement for the backyard access, and then the salesperson says yes. But after closing, and then I didn't pay attention till the neighbors all started to build the fence. Now, when the building fence, and then I looked at the survey, and then there's actually no easement. So which means your backyard totally locked. You have no way to bring your lawnmower or whatever to the backyard. Is there any way to create an easement after all?
I don't quite understand. You're saying that because usually an easement, you're saying that it's an easement in favor of you as the owner over your neighbor's property? Is that-
Yes. I suppose, and then should have easement in the backyard, and the middle unit owner will be able to bring things and through this end unit when there's a fence, when the build fence.
No, usually usually your townhouse only has a maintenance easement over the property right next to it. It wouldn't extend to the end unit.
So there's no problem, there's no possibility to create one.
There is a possibility to create the easement, but it's very complicated procedure. Like you have to go to the city, you have to get the city to approve it, and then but like I said, I would have to look at the property itself and see, and also do a title search to find out more information, because it seems kind of unusual to me. Like I can't give advice without doing a little bit more research.
Yeah, thank you. And when I bought another townhome, and I paid special attention on this one, actually the builder's survey actually shows there's easement, which neighbors all obey for this and leave a gate and in the backyard, which middle unit owner will be able to use it.
That's kind of I never come across an easement that allows you to have, like, if you're a middle owner, like I found it very kind of strange, because I never usually have an easement over the property next to you. You wouldn't have an easement over the end unit. That's kind of that's a little bit unusual. Like I would, maybe you can come and see me if you're really concerned about it. I could maybe just do a quick search and see, like, because I don't quite understand that situation, because usually you have an easement over your neighbor's property for maintenance. And like I said, remember when I went through the different parts, remember I went through part 29, part 30, I said that your neighbor could have access to part 29 in order to do, maintenance on his unit. Should I go back? I don't know to answer this lady's question. Like,
I don't think it's the same question.
do we have time, or we don't have time?
It's already with how many slides with?
We have 3 more slides, but I just want to show her the.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, let me go back to. Okay, this is the townhouse that we're talking about right here. Okay, do you see? Okay, let's say for example you're buying. Okay, let's say for example you're buying 27, part 27, part 20. So you're buying this one here. Right here. This is the townhouse that you're buying. Now you would normally have, because like I said, this townhouse block is very close. Like the towns are very close to each other. So normally you would have access to this part 29. This part 29 actually belongs to your neighbor here. But you would have access to this part in order to do maintenance work on your porch. And by the same token, this neighbor here would have access to part 27, which belongs to you, in order to do maintenance work on his land. But like, see, this is the most common situation. You have access to your neighbors, like to your adjoining neighbor's land, and vice versa. But this owner here, or actually, let's use this example because this one has a few more townhouses tied together. Like, for example, if you're buying this one here, you normally don't have any easement over this guy's property. You only have an easement over this guy's over part 34, and by the same token, this guy here, this guy would have an easement over part 36, part of your property. So I'm not quite sure what you're getting at, but we're kind of a little bit short on time too. Maybe like you can call me or contact me, and I can maybe discuss it some more with you. Is that okay?
Thank you very much.
Okay. Good. So let's just finish up by going through some of the things that I just want to bring to your attention, like when you're, oops, okay. Okay, I just want to go through some of the things that I think you should bear in mind when you're acting for clients and you're dealing with survey issues. The first thing is, I see it a lot of times there's a clause in the agreement stating that the vendor will provide an existing survey showing the location of all fences, structures, and improvements, when the vendor only really has the foundation survey. And we already went through what a foundation survey looks like. A foundation survey doesn't show you the fences, it doesn't show you the decks, it doesn't show you the driveway, and it doesn't show you the sheds. So there's a lot of things that the foundation survey doesn't show you. Yet, like I see a lot of times, I see offers with this clause in it, like that the vendor will provide an existing survey showing the location of all fences, structure improvements, when in fact the vendor only has this foundation survey, and then that causes a lot of problems, because then the buyer presumably could compel the vendor to go ahead and to get an up-to-date survey that shows all these additional items. So if you're acting for the seller and you see this clause coming, just cross it out and just cross out this showing the location of all. Just cross it out and just leave it at here with a period right here, that the vendor will provide an existing survey, period. That's it. Okay? Because the foundation survey, that the survey that your client has doesn't have all these additional things on it. All right. The second thing is, a lot of times I see clients getting an illegible survey, and the survey itself is very important. I'll just go back here, because it actually tells you this is a setback, right? It tells you that this side of the building is 1.21 meters away from the lot line. Now, these setback numbers are really important because they tell you whether you're in compliance, whether your building is in compliance with the setback requirements, whether there's enough space between here and here, according to the municipal bylaws. So it's really useful if you can. I know a lot of times you get surveys that have been photocopied, and if it's a really old property, like the survey itself will be copied and copied and copied until it gets to the point where you can't read these numbers or you can't make out a lot of the details. Okay, but if you can, try to get a legible survey. Okay, don't just accept any survey and say this is fine, because an illegible survey is no survey at all. Because I gotta have the details, like right here, I gotta have the details. Do you see it right here? It tells me that these two walls are linked, right? These two walls of the garage are linked. Now, if I got an illegible survey, I may miss out on this information because it may not, like if this survey cannot be seen or it's hard to read, I may not be able to get that information. So this is a very good way. Oops. This itself is a very good survey because I can read all the numbers. I can read all the numbers here. I can read the lot size, 11 meters. I can read all the setback numbers here. I can read that this is the porch. I can read where the porch is, right? Oops. Okay, this is a very good survey right here because it's telling me you can read all the numbers here, the setback numbers. You can know where the porch is, right? This is the porch right here. It's telling you the lot size, 11, okay, by 11 by 32, okay? So it's giving you a lot of useful information. So like I said, try your best to get the best copy of the survey as possible. Okay, and the other thing too is you should get a survey right at the time of the offer. That way you can identify whether there are any problems right off the bat. Before you even make the offer, you can, like if you got this cottage survey right here, at the time of the offer, you already know, you know, if you don't understand it, bring it to your lawyer and, you know, ask the lawyer to, go through it with you. But right here, with this survey right at the time of the offer, if I got this survey, I know right off the bat that this survey, you know, is telling me a lot of problems with the property. I would just tell the client, you know, look, there's so many problems with this property. Let's not bother making an offer because it's just going to be so difficult to fix this up. Okay. And the vendor may not even want to fix it up. The vendor may just say, take it as is. No, I don't want to, you know, deal with the problems. So, you know, right off the bat, okay, you know, your client's buying a property that is got a lot of issues. All right. So, you know, right off the bat, you know, maybe we just don't bother making the offer and go through that very stressful negotiation process, right? And then to make the deposit and to find out later on you have all these problems and then to try to get your deposit back, right? Like it's just, you know, it's just a big headache. So, right, try to get the survey right at the time of the offer. And like I said, it's really important that you get surveys for all commercial and industrial properties and also for all recreational freehold properties such as cottages. Because like I said, these types of properties tend to have a lot of problems, which a survey will reveal. And it's best that you know, like get the survey so you know exactly what you're buying, right? So you just don't have to rely on title insurance. You get the survey, you know, like, you have to, for example, that your shed is encroaching onto the neighbor's land, you know that there's an easement on the property, you know that there's some other issues, right? So you know right off the bat what the issues are, because these particular types of properties, commercial, industrial, and recreational freehold properties, they tend to have a lot of the problems. Like I said, the title insurance is not the same protection as a survey. First of all, you must make sure that your title insurance policy is enforceable. And like sometimes, unfortunately, sometimes there are mistakes made with the title insurance policy, and then the title insurance company will try to deny coverage based on those mistakes. For example, sometimes the title insurance policy will contain a mistake with respect to the property address. Instead of say 34 Markham Road, you'll say 32 Markham Road. It was just a mistake that was made. And then the title insurance company will come back and deny coverage and say, look, we were insuring 34, we're not insuring 32. And the policy says 32. So therefore you don't have an enforceable title insurance policy. Secondly, there's a lot of exclusions to the policy coverage. There's a lot of things that the title insurance companies don't cover. So you have to, your problem has to come in within the terms of the policy coverage. You must not have knowledge of the defects. And then sometimes the title insurance company may not fully compensate the purchaser and owner. And they may come back and say, we think this issue is only worth 20,000, whereas it's going to cost your client maybe 50,000 to fix the problem. But the title insurance company may come back and say, well, look, the loss in the market value is only 20,000. So we're only going to give you $20,000. They can do that. Okay, they can compensate you in that way, even though you require 50,000 in order to fix the problem. So you may not be fully compensated by the title insurance company. And then the title insurance claim process is very slow and cumbersome. It takes a long time to get these issues resolved. Whereas if you had a survey, you know what the problem is, you can solve it right then and there. Like you don't need to go through the title insurance claim process. Okay, so that's about it. And then just to say thank you for listening to my seminar. I really appreciate your time. And do we have time for any more questions? You want to?
Let's see if they have any question. Maybe you give another 3 or 4 minutes.
Maybe you can just pick 1 or 2. That's
Yeah.
Peter. Hello.
Yes.
Can I have 2 questions if you don't mind?
Okay.
I'll make it quick. Okay. This is Sydney. First of all, I recently my client, we just made an offer. We already got the house. I mean, all the offer kind of stuff. 1920s survey for a semi-detached, really old home apparently in East York, Toronto. It's actually the survey, so-called survey on the piece of paper it's all done by handwriting. It's not like these days updated with the stamps surveyor.
Does it actually say on the? Does it actually have an Ontario Land Surveyor name?
No, it's actually, that's what I'm saying. It's done by handwriting though. It's only, I think it's foundation survey because there's absolutely nothing, no additional information other than just the borderline.
Does it actually say, does it actually have a name of Untitled Land Survey on it?
Just let me say, it says, it sent me, hold on. Ontario Land Survey, Toronto, April 3rd, whatever, 3rd, 1920. That's it. And plan number, a lot number. That's about it. That they do really, how much effect really, you know, this survey really.
Well,
We have to cross, sorry, we have to cross out the survey clause, but then that's what we were given anyway. No choice.
you're buying the property, I take it then?
We did already, we already did, yeah. Just asking you, 1920, you know, survey like this for buyer.
Well, you look at the survey, is it still legible survey?
It
read the
seems
numbers?
okay, like you still, yes, it does, it is legible, yeah.
And you look at the survey and you look at the property itself, is it pretty well match each other? Like, does it pretty well match like the property, like the property and the survey? Like, do they match or are they like a
I don't know, honestly. I wish I could say, but that's what we're given. But for me, it's down the road. I mean, you know, this is what it is. It is what it is. But down the road, if in any way my clients ask me, you know, should we get a updated survey or anything? What would be the best advice for me to say?
I would think that it's best, given the age of the survey, to probably get a new survey. Like,
The new survey, because the 1920 is over 100 years old.
yeah, I think it's probably best for your client to get a new survey of the property.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
If they ever want to ask, that's what I would say.
Okay. And then what's your second question?
Thank you. The second question, the reason again, I'm on the buyer side, bought a piece of land in Niagara Falls region. You mentioned something about title insurance coverage. I'm on the buyer side. Last Thursday supposed to be the day for closing. However, the seller's lawyer told the buyer's lawyer saying, look, the lien registered against the land is not clean.
What?
So we couldn't close. Now the title my question really is on the title and the title insurance. What is the recourse for my client?
Your client, okay, so the deal has not closed?
No, the seller side asked for a month extension. Because the lien is not cleaned. My question, as I said, the title and title insurance, all that from the buyer side, what is the recourse?
Well, the problem is you cannot make a claim with title insurance because you have knowledge of the problem before closing. So once you have knowledge of the issue before closing, it's automatically excluded from coverage. So your client has knowledge that there's a lien on the property,
Okay.
right? And so they cannot make a claim with title insurance, like, and ask them to pay out the claim, because title insurance companies do not cover known defects.
But under that circumstance, would that be a possibility that still can be closed? Take a lawyer taking some undertakings. I don't know.
I guess it would depend on how large the lien is. I mean, if the lien is for $1 million and it's only $600,000 equity, then how can the lawyer give the undertaking, right? The lawyer cannot pay out the lien.
Or the land the purchase price is $679,000.
Like that would have to be something that had to be like I would need more information about it. I mean, presumably like they could try to do by way of an undertaking, but I guess your lawyer did not want to do that. Maybe he didn't feel comfortable for some reason. So I don't.
Right. If during the extension time period, which was asked by the seller side, and if extra fees occurred from my client, can that be asked to be compensated by the seller side?
I don't know. It depends on the steps between your lawyer and the seller's lawyer. The seller's lawyer may take the position that they don't want to sell the property anymore. Then they say that basically this issue, they cannot solve it in time and they don't want to sell the property anymore. And then,
but if from a buyer that we never ever gonna sign a mutual release, that means the seller can never sell the property, correct?
Well, yeah, your client cannot get the deposit back out, so, so, like, I don't really want to sit there and say what one lawyer should
Yeah,
have done or not done, like,
Yes,
you just have to trust that this lawyer that you have, it's handling it the best way possible. Because I don't really want to sit there and say he should done this one, I don't really even know
I
the
know,
facts,
I understand.
I don't know the facts, like, sorry,
Right,
yeah.
you know what, I'm gonna pass on your contact to my client, hopefully maybe they will get in touch with you if needed, okay?
Yeah, okay, yeah, if, I mean, I don't want to, like, I don't really want to,
Understand.
don't really want to sit there criticize or say anything about what the other lawyer done unless I have all the facts, first of all, and the
Yeah.
lawyer, yeah, and then the client asked me for, like, formally asked me for a second opinion, because otherwise, I
That's
could get into trouble, so.
totally understand, thanks so much.
Okay,
Really
no problem, okay, and
Thank
any other questions at all, or do we have time for one more, I guess?
Should be okay.
Okay, go ahead, anybody else have anything that they want? You have my email address, and then,
First page.
you have my email address, if you have any other questions,
Peter 你好，我能问个问题，我能用中文问个问题吗？请 Sabby 翻译一下。
Okay, okay.
go back to one.
Yeah, the contact information.
可以吗？
Okay, my contact information is here.
Okay.
If you have
Yeah.
anything you don't understand from this talk, just email me as well. Okay, so, okay, any other questions at all? Or? I think not, or everybody's good, or?
Yeah, I got a question.
Okay, I think this will be the
Hi.
last one. I think this will be the last
Yeah,
question.
last one. Sure. Thank you, Peter.
Go ahead.
Usually when we prepare the offer or prepare a listing on the system, there's a legal description regarding the property. In our net registry system, usually there has a short form and long form. Short form sometimes is without easement, no description for the easement, and then only the long form, really longer one, there is an easement. So we put the whole paragraph, the long form in when there is an easement, or it's good just
No, I think I would suggest you put the long form in, because that way it's already made clear in the offer that there is an easement, right? Because you put the long form in, and then it's already on the offer. So like the buyer cannot come back and dispute and say later on, I don't have any longer easement, because it's already on the offer, right? Like, subject to as and so and so. That's right. So that would be my advice.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And if, like I said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to call me or to email me if you have any questions. Like I said, if you have a question about your specific case, it may be a little bit more difficult for me to answer, because if the client has a lawyer right now, I don't really want to, second guess what that lawyer is doing. But if you have a generic question about a survey, just feel free to email me or call me. Okay, thank you. Thanks, everyone. Okay,
Thanks.
thanks.